Okay, I'm here to talk about the exemplary learning and career profile and how it conforms to MLA format and why doing MLA format is kind of important for this. So the first thing that I wanted to point out is that when you get your document, it's already going to be formatted in MLA format. You'll notice that you'll see the heading that is correct. You'll see the title done correctly. You'll also see that it'll say student last name and the page number. You just change that to your last name. Um, the other thing that is also correct in this is that the works cited page also lists the sources that were used in the exemplary paper. Um, there's only three listed here because in this paper, the author only used three, even though when you look at your own template, there's going to be more than just these three. In fact, I will show you that right now. When you get to your works cited page in your template, this is the template that is going to be sent to you, hopefully, you'll notice right away that it has way more sources than just the three listed in there. And that is because you read more material than just the three that were listed in the model. However, you simply remove the ones that you don't use when you actually plan for your first section. But let's get back to then what your first section should include and why and how we're going to use MLA format to do it. So if you've read the exemplar and you get to the second paragraph here, you'll probably notice then that the author starts to use information from their sources. So these experiences are similar to the ideas in the winning edge, and grit, the power, passion, and perseverance. And when you look very closely at it, then you'll notice that this part to this part right here all came from that article, Winning Edge. But in order for us to use this information, we have to give credit where credit is due, and we have to do so with a process known as parenthetical citations or references. Right here at the end of that sentence, you see that this is how we did our citation. We have the author's last name and then the page numbers it came from. Well, the general rule of thumb is that if your source, your information, this stuff right here, comes from a printed source that has page numbers, whether it's in a magazine or in a book, and in this case it came from the textbook, you absolutely have to put the page number inside of the citation. So this is one way where I used my own words to describe what actually I was the one that wrote the exemplar, where I used my own words to describe what had happened inside of the article, and then I gave credit where credit is due by putting a citation here at the end of that sentence. And notice the placement of the period right after that. But there's another consideration to be taken, and that is for sources that are electronic. So I'm going to kind of circle the next section where information was borrowed from one of the sources. And the information that was borrowed from one of the sources this time came from Angela Duckworth's TED Talk on grit. Now, this is a different type of source. It didn't come from a textbook or something in a book with pages or a magazine or anything. It was actually an online video from TED.com. In this case, though, you still have to give credit where credit is due and do a citation and include her last name, parentheses, and then close the period. So those are the two ways in which you give the credit to the original author when you borrow their ideas. Similarly, then, you'll notice with this example right here where they talked about the upside of quitting and how it could be a good thing. Once again, this came from the textbook. So the author's name, which was Freakonomics Radio, is how we address that one. And the page number that this information came from are listed there. So that is how you ensure that you give credit where credit is due and that you don't plagiarize and that you show your teacher and anybody else who reads this learning profile that you borrowed ideas from other places and then wrote about them from your own perspective. But that is the method through which we'd like for you to follow MLA format, which is a formal style guide that ensures that you don't plagiarize.